Let's let the learning begin, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, Metaphysical Thursday, May 29th, 2014. On the simple substance, this is a lecture from James Tyler Kent, who was a homeopath in the 19th century. I'm going to read you an excerpts from his book, Lectures on Homeopathic Philosophy. Don't worry, it's going to be fun. I know that for most of us, school was not fun. That's why I'm here, to make it a little more interesting, to bring it a little closer to home. Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of the medical science of homeopathy, wrote a homeopathic textbook. The homeopathic textbook, and this is an excerpt from that. The first paragraph that I'm going to read is chapter 9 on the simple substance from Samuel Hahnemann's Organon of Medicine. I quote, "In the healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamic energy that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operation as regards both sensations and functions, so that our indwelling, reason-gifted mind can freely enjoy this living, healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence," end quote. So, the homeopaths and the acupuncturists and the naturopaths and the herbalists and the Ayurvedic practitioners and the traditional Chinese medical practitioners and every holistic medical practitioner in the world believes that the human body is endowed with a God-given spiritual force, a God-given energy, a spiritual energy, an unseen, unmeasurable, vital force. And it is, in fact, this vital force with intelligence. It has intelligence. This vital force manages, regulates, articulates all of the unseen chemical and biochemical and reactions that keep the human body going. Not just the human body, but the bodies of plants, the bodies of crystals, rocks, the bodies of animals as well. It's a fascinating thing. Let's read what James Tyler Kent has to say about this. The materialist, i.e. the MD, remember, MDs are trained in a philosophy of medicine called allopathic reductionism. I'm trained in naturopathic holism. You didn't know that these distinctions existed before you met me, but they do. Your MD is not trained in medicine. Nobody is. Your MD is trained in allopathic reductionism. And allopathic reductionism argues if you can't measure it, it does not exist. The materialistic MD, to be consistent with his principles, is obliged to deny the soul and to deny a substantial God, because the energy which he dwells upon so much is nothing, and he must assume that God is nothing, and therefore that there is none. But the one who is rational, the person who is rational, will be led to see that there is a supreme God, that he is substantial, and that he is a substance. Everything proceeds from God, and the whole series from the supreme to the most ultimate matter in this way is connected. Just as surely as there is a separation and not a continuous influx from first to last, ultimates will cease to exist, end quote. Now this means that if you're an MD, by definition you cannot believe in God, because you can't measure God. Nobody's measured God. Nobody's proved the existence of God. And every time you say, if you're an MD, every time you say that you love somebody, you're a hypocrite, because it's impossible to prove that, in fact, that you love them. You can't prove that. You love your mother? Well, I'm glad that you do, and now prove it. Can you prove it? No, you can't prove it. You know it in your bones, but you can't prove it, because love is an intangible thing that is beyond the physical mind. It is beyond the physical body. It is beyond material existence. It is an immeasurable phenomenon. Now, psychiatrists will tell you that love is a biochemical reaction, pure and simple. That your mind has convinced you that you're in love because of the biochemicals present in your body when you have that feeling, and MDs can manipulate your feelings by giving you drugs. This is where ecstasy came from. The street drug ecstasy was originally MDMA, That's an acronym for a long biochemical name you don't need to remember. Ecstasy was developed by psychiatrists to help their patients who were having troubles with intimacy break through those barriers and have intimate feelings. And so the MD believes that because they can manipulate how you feel with drugs, your feelings are caused by drugs. Right? This is the MD's point of view, and this is why you must run away from them as quickly as is humanly possible. Because their fundamental conception, realization, actualization, determination, understanding of how the human body works is incomplete. The MD does not believe in the existence of a spiritual vital principle. They do not believe that it is there because they can't measure it. And according to their philosophy, if you can't measure something, it does not exist. Now, James Tyler Kent goes on to say, there are many qualities predicated of simple substance, and this is the simple substance he's referring to is a spiritual energy which flows from the divine into the material world, managing and dictating everything that happens in the material world. It's kind of like cosmic DNA, if you will. There are many qualities predicated of simple substance. By the way, it's the simple substance, the spiritual force, the vital force, which brings light to the eyes, light to your dreams as well. And one of the first propositions we have to consider is that this simple spiritual substance is endowed with formative intelligence, i.e., it intelligently operates and forms the economy of the whole animal, vegetable, and mineral kingdom. Everything in the animal, vegetable, and mineral kingdom with form goes on its natural course and assumes and continues its own private state. You know, this means that water doesn't spontaneously turn into gold, right? And when crystals form, they always form in a particular way. A salt always forms in a particular way. A flower, a daisy, always forms in a particular way, right? So forth and so on. When ants are born, right, they all look like each other. They all have what? How many legs does an ant have? 6, right? They all have the exoskeleton, etc., etc. The laws of chemistry by analysis may be so revealed to man that he can detect all of the elements. Why? Because they conduct themselves uniformly. A rose is a rose is a rose. The simple substance gives to everything its own type of life, gives it distinction, gives it identity, whereby it differs from all other things. The crystal of the earth has its own association, its own identity. It is endowed with a simple spiritual substance that will establish its identity from everything else in the animal kingdom, everything else in the mineral kingdom. This is due to the formative intelligence of the simple substance, which is continuous from its beginning to its end. If we examine the frost upon the window pane, we see its tendency to manifest formative intelligence. It's the same patterns over and over and over again. Plants grow in fixed forms. So it is with the human being, from his beginning to his end. There is continuous influx into man from the ultimate spiritual cause. Hence, man and all forms are subject to the laws of spiritual influx. If man is in the highest order and is rational, he wills to keep himself in continuous order, that his thoughts may continue. But he is so placed in freedom that he can, in fact, if he wants to, destroy his health and destroy his rationality, end quote. Now, and it goes on and 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 on. This is the very tip of the iceberg of homeopathic philosophy. And all other systems of holistic medicine have their own very sophisticated, built-in philosophies which attempt to communicate, to understand the relationship between the spiritual vital force and the innate workings of the human body. This is what all holistic medicine does. It attempts to draw some distinctions around and understand how and why it is that the spiritual vital principle in human beings, in everything in creation, works. And because when, as above, so below, right? So when water becomes polluted, bad things happen, right? Well, when the human body becomes polluted, bad things happen. You can mess up the manifestation of the vital force. There are things that increase its activity. There are things that decrease its activity. There are things that manipulate its activity. There are things that corrupt its activity. There are things that accentuate its activity. And it is this determination, it is this realm, it is this domain inside of which holistic physicians work and walk and investigate, live. This is where we live. This is a hard place to live because nobody has developed the tools, the requisite measuring devices necessary to discover these things objectively. You cannot objectify the soul. You can't do it. You can experience the soul, but you can experience God. You can experience the spiritual vital force. You can intellectually understand that it is present, and you can, by way of observation, look to see what it does and attempt to discover how to manipulate it. And then if your manipulative processes are correct, if your conclusions are correct, then because everything flows from beginning to end, because everything flows in a particular sequence, you can tell that what you're doing is accurate or not by judging the results of what you do. And this is how acupuncture was born. This is how homeopathy was born. Because we make assumptions about how the spiritual vital force is working in the human body, and then we test our assumptions with medical interventions, and we look to see whether our assumptions were accurate, and whether when we do such and such to the human body we get such and such a result every single time. This is the scientific application of metaphysical medicine. And unless your doctor has a grounding in metaphysics, unless your physician is grounded in metaphysics, you must run away from them as quickly as is humanly possible. So, if you are an acupuncturist, well, let's just, for argument's sake, say that through some type of spiritual discipline, through some type of meditative or prayer practice or physical practice or diet or something, you were able to make it possible for your eyes to see the invisible energetic meridians that the acupuncturists argue are present and which they manipulate with their needles. Let's say that you could see those. Would you be able to prove that to anybody? No. Because nobody else can see through your eyes. What, can you pick your eyes out and stick them into somebody else's head? No, it doesn't work like that. If you had a near-death experience and went to heaven, or went to hell, or went wherever you go, and you came back, would you be able to prove what you had just seen? No. People would think that you were crazy. However, with holistic medicine, holistic medical physicians attempt through experimentation and documentation to prove what they do. So an acupuncturist, right, will put the needle here and see what happens in 10,000 patients, and then they'll put the needle there and see what happens in 10,000 patients, and so forth and so on, and they document and collect all of this information, and when they look at this, all of this data as a unit, they can make sense out of how everything is happening in the unseen realms. You can't see the unseen realms, but you can experience what they do, because the whole fundamental philosophy here is that the unseen vital force, the unseen spiritual force inside the human body produces results. It does stuff. And by paying attention to the stuff that happens, you can determine with the scientific method what is going on. And this is what the homeopaths have done. This is what the acupuncturists have done. This is what the Ayurvedic practitioners have done. But Big Pharma comes along and says, no, 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 no. This is all nonsense. It's all fiction. It's all placebo effect. Don't look at the homeopath. He's a quack. Don't look at the Ayurvedic. He's a quack. Don't look at the herbalist. She's a quack. Because the pharmacist, the pharmaceutical company, the MD, by virtue of their philosophical understanding, is wedded to one particular position, and that position does not include God. That position does not include anything spiritual. That position does not include anything metaphysical. It does not. Which is one of life's greatest ironies. All right? Because you're a medical doctor, you're the coronary physician, the coronary cardiac specialist at Mount Sinai. The best cardiac surgeon in the world. Maybe the best cardiac surgeon in the world when he's at work, and maybe a really God-fearing person when in his personal life. Maybe an ardent born-again Christian, an ardent Mormon, an ardent Jew, an ardent Roman Catholic, right? May go to church every Monday, every morning at 7:30 a.m. like my dear mother did, God rest her soul. This is ironic because this means that in their private life they believe in God, but in their professional life they're an atheist. Because they are. You can't have it both ways. That's like being a member of a democracy while you're at work, but a communist when you go home. It is completely hypocritical. And it happens all of the time. And nobody is talking about it. Oh, because nobody wants to talk about anything metaphysical. Oh, that's all for the hippies in the 60s. Baloney. Metaphysical experiences reach deep into the very substance of your being. And if you have ever gone to church, if you have ever prayed to God, you're a metaphysician. If you've ever said that you love somebody, you're a metaphysician. Period. You are. It's time we all collectively got a clue and pulled our heads out of our you-know-what and stopped talking about metaphysical stuff, spiritual stuff in a negative context. Because it is not a negative context. It is the very substance fabric of your life. It is the stuff that orchestrates all of the actions of the human body all of the time, and it would be prudent for you to sidle up to that one, baby. It would be prudent of you to hitch your wagon to that star. And this is what every holistic physician does. This is what I do with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. How? Because all that we do is give your body the nutrients it needs to fix itself and then get out of the way and trust that the spiritual intelligence, the vital principle of your body, is going to fix it. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is the luckiest day of your life. You've tuned in to Fire Your MD Now. Debbie from Florida is up next. Stick around. It's interesting, isn't it? From the proper perspective, everything makes sense. This is why MD therapeutics are so dangerous, because they don't take into consideration any of this. They just don't take it into consideration, right? So, it's a big bad voodoo daddy, and that's why MD-directed medical therapeutics are the leading cause of death. It's also why they're the leading cause of bankruptcy, because what's the most expensive therapy? The one that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because the MDs have thrown the baby out with the bathwater in their insistence that there's no such thing as a vital soul force inside the human body. And so their therapeutics are designed not to fix anything, but to manage things, and their therapeutics never get to the root cause of the disease. So if you have a coronary bypass surgery because you've got a clogged artery, does, pulling a vein out of your leg and sticking it into your heart or solve the process that made cholesterol accumulate in your arteries? No. It's only a matter of time until it happens again. Because remember, the plaque buildup in the artery is not the disease. It's the result of the disease. The tumor isn't the disease, it's the result of the disease. The asthmatic lung isn't the disease, it's the result of the disease. The migraine pain is not the disease, it's the result of the disease, and so forth and so on. But the MDs are not concerned with the cause of anything. They're only concerned with managing the results, not curing the illness. This is why every time I see somebody running a 5K or a 10K or a marathon to find money for the cure for cancer, I want to shoot somebody, figuratively. Because they're never, ever, ever, ever going to be able to find it. Ever. 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 Why? Because their understanding of how the human body works is incorrect. And as far as I know, I'm the only one saying this in the public forum. I'm the only one. Dr. Wallach doesn't even say it like I say it. Dr. Wallach doesn't talk about metaphysics. Dr. Wallach talks about the wonders of medical nutrition, as he should. But why does medical nutrition work? Because it's delivered to a body in which a vital principle exists, right? You give your body the vitamin C and the body knows what to do with it. How is it possible that the body knows what to do with it? Because it has intelligence given to it by the unseen vital force. This is the single most important point I have to teach anybody. It is the single most important point. And it is when you drill it all down to the root cause, the MD's lack of understanding of the spiritual energy inside the body is the main reason why their therapeutics fail. And until they start to get a clue about that, they're going to continue to get unbelievably bad results. Now, the good news is you don't have to wait for the MDs to catch a clue. Honestly, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Because the Ayurvedic practitioners already have the clue, the homeopaths already have the clue, the acupuncturists already have the clue, and the naturopaths, some of them anyway, already have the clue. So there are licensed, regulated physicians working in the world right now, today, that can help you. And my recommendation is you start here. Because we offer, in this context, science-based, clinically verified boilerplate, holistic health recovery programs of foundation medical nutrition that everybody's body needs. Now, whether you have a homeopathic treatment or not, you still need medical nutrition. Whether you take some Ayurvedic herbs or cleansing programs or not, you still need medical nutrition. Whether you do an acupuncture treatment or not, your body still needs medical nutrition, and that's why longevity is so important. Because Dr. Wallach's recipes, Dr. Wallach's formulations, Dr. Wallach's understanding of the body's nutritional needs eclipse anybody else's. Eclipses anybody else's. So you got to start somewhere. Well, you clean your diet up, give your body the nutrition that it needs. Do that for 3 months. Do it for 6 months. See where you stand. See how you're doing. And then, if, after 6 months, you're still in the woods with something, everything's gotten better, but that one thing is still hanging fire, then go to see the homeopath, then go to see the Ayurvedic practitioner, then go to the acupuncturist, and your results will be remarkable. And that's why what we do as Longevity Nation is so important, because we offer foundation, science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutics that support and promote your body's holistic nature. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Let's go to Florida and see what Debbie's up to. Hey, Debbie, thanks for the call back. You are live.
Hey, Dr. G. I called yesterday about the bruised ribs, and you told me to take Arnica Montana.
Yeah.
And if it didn't work, to give you a call back. So
I'm assuming it did not work.
Right.
How'd you bruise the rib?
I was like on the third ring of the ladder and just fell on my butt, and then it got my ribs.
So it hurt the ribs in your back?
In my front, like if I move my arms, it hurts in my back too.
So how did falling off of a ladder onto your butt to generate trauma to the ribs in the front?
I don't know.
I mean, did the ribs hit the rungs when you were falling down the ladder?
No, I was just assuming just the bang of it.
Yeah. Well, that being the case, have you seen a chiropractor?
No.
All right. So here's what you want to do. So the rib is a funny thing. And, a rib in a human being looks like a rib in any other animal. And we've all seen skeletons of animals. We've all seen skeletons of the human being. So the rib, right, is one continuous curved bone which attaches loosely to the larger skeleton in the back. So it's kind of like, how Legos stick to one another. Well, the rib is attached to your body, to the skeleton, to the rest of the skeleton, through a little facet joint between the vertebrae of your back. So if you fall on your back and the rib gets traumatized, it's entirely possible for the back of the rib, where it connects to the skeletal frame, to pop out of the skeleton. It's kind of a similar situation. I don't know if you've ever experienced it yourself. I hope not. Or if you know anybody who's experienced it, when their shoulder pops out of joint, it's like, oh my God, right? It's a painful experience. Now, if you know what to do, you can pop the shoulder right back into joint, and life is good. So, but it's a flexible joint, and the iteration of the head of the rib into the spine is a flexible joint as well, so it can pop out of joint. But it's interesting because the rib is this one continuous long curved bone. It's entirely possible that if it pops out of joint in the back, the whole bone moves, right? And it's entirely possible for the joint being out of place in the back causes pain in the front, because the part of the rib that's in the front of the body, because it's moved, is now pressing up against soft tissue or some nerves that it shouldn't be pressing on, and it causes pain. So it's a fascinating thing. So given the fact that you didn't have any blunt force trauma to your chest, which is where the pain is, then I'm going to assume that the problem with the rib is not in the front. Actually, the problem is in the back. And so, given the fact that arnica didn't work on this, I'm assuming it's a mechanical thing. And so you should go and find a good chiropractor. Now, because I'm telling you, in 30 seconds, a chiropractor can pop the rib head right back into place. And it's like, you know, I mean, it's like all of a sudden the lights go on, and it's, oh my God, I feel so much better, and it's that rapid. The problem, however, is, you know, there's good lawyers, there's bad lawyers, there's good plumbers, there's bad plumbers, there's good gardeners, there's bad gardeners, there's good naturopaths, there's bad naturopaths, there's bad MDs, and there's bad MDs. But there are good chiropractors and bad chiropractors. So I love chiropractors. I think a good chiropractor is worth their weight in gold. The trouble is finding a good one. So when you're attempting to find a chiropractor in your town, you want to lean heavily on word of mouth. So talk to your friends, talk to your family members, talk to your church members, talk to your coworkers, and see if any of them have used a chiropractor and what their experience was with them. Go to them, tell them that you think that, you fell on your back and you've got problems with your rib, and they'll be able to tell you in 10 minutes whether the rib head's in or out. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay. All right, Debbie. Give that a run for the money. Call me back with a result, because I'm interested and I want to see you through this. I appreciate it. And this is how we do it, folks, right? I mean, it's logical. And this is, I think, a very important thing for people to remember here on Metaphysical Thursday, because one of the incorrect notions about the metaphysical nature of the forces inside the human body is that it's like anything can happen at any moment in time, just because that's the way that, it's this unseen force and who knows what it is, and that's nonsense. Metaphysical phenomenon give to the body structure and form, and the structure and form is dictated by the laws of physics, right? Water flows downhill. Water doesn't flow uphill. 2 + 2 is 4. If you mix a bleach and ammonia together, it's going to cause a caustic gas, right? This always happens all of the time. So when we're trying to work with, manipulate, change the metaphysical forces inside the human body, then when we do it appropriately, we will always get a certain result. When we do it inappropriately, we will always get no result. So, applying metaphysics to the human body is no different than applying drugs to the human body, because we expect a certain outcome every time, and when we don't get the certain outcome, well, that's an indication that, well, that line of thought, went nowhere. It's just like investigating a crime scene. You follow your leads until they either give you a result or they end up in a dead end. It's no different with metaphysical stuff. So the recommendation for her was the homeopathic medicine arnica. Now, she took the homeopathic medicine arnica and nothing happened. Therefore, one would assume that the nature of the illness here is not so much energetic as it is mechanical. And so with any type of trauma to the human body, you really need to see somebody who's a skilled body worker, like a chiropractor or an old-fashioned osteopathic doctor, if you can find one, or some type of rolfer or body worker, because, the mechanics of the body, the structure of the body needs to be put into its proper place to allow the spiritual energy to flow. And so there's give and take here. We can affect the vital force of the body by putting the physical body into proper alignment. And once the physical body is in proper alignment, we can optimize its structure and function with metaphysical medicine. And this is the nature of the human body. It's a magnificent machine. Keep your MD away from it. Unless, of course, you're bleeding to death, right? And that's their domain. Martha from Virginia is up next, folks. Stick around. Going to Virginia next. Talk to Martha. See what's going on down below the Mason-Dixon line. Hey, Martha, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Oh, Dr. Glenn, this is Cleveland. I was calling for Martha, but she left and she hadn't got back. How you doing today, partner?
I'm great, Cleveland. How are you, man?
I'm fantastic and getting better.
Hey, Cleveland, before we get into it, were you responsible for the bad snowy weather here in Chicago this winter? Was that your fault?
No, sir, partner. I wouldn't do you like that.
All right. I'm just checking. All right. So what's going on with Martha?
Okay, Martha, I wanted her to talk to you, but she may have to do it another day. She hadn't got back. But I got a friend of mine. He just signed up with us. He's 69 years young. And he wanted to be able to perform better in the bedroom with his wife. I thought about the new product we got, GTO, but I figured I would talk to the smartest man in the world about that.
There you go. So, give it to me one more time. What's his age, what's his weight and his height, and what's the diagnosis?
He's 69 years of age. He is about 5'7". He weighs about 180 pounds.
Yeah.
And he wants to be able to do better in the bedroom with his wife.
Oh, is that right? So does he have anything else going on, like high blood pressure, arthritis, insomnia, heartburn, aches and pains, or is he good to go?
I haven't heard him say anything about any other conditions.
All right, great. Well, it's interesting that he should be that age and have nothing else bothering him, right? Because from our point of view, all chronic diseases are rooted in nutrient deficiencies. And because nobody gets all of the nutrients they need from food, it's only a matter of time until the body runs out of something and things start to break. And so I would, think that by the time someone was in their 30s, if not sooner, that things would have started to go south. And, you might want to just kind of ask him, because one of the funny things that happens here, Cleveland, is because everybody is sick all of the time, and because everybody sees that everybody is sick all of the time, everybody watches their parents get sicker and their brothers and sisters and their school teachers get sicker. Everybody just assumes that, heartburn, well, that's just par for the course. Everybody just assumes that a little bit of arthritis in your leg, well, that's just par for the course. And so people might not be forthcoming with their little middly-piddly aches and pains because they think that that's just not a factor and that that's just part of the deal. And it's an important part of the factor from the point of view of holistic medical nutrition, right? Because if there's high blood pressure at play, then we give extra calcium. If there's, arthritis at play, we give extra minerals and sulfur-bearing molecules and so forth and so on. And everything is connected. So, when we're talking about optimizing hormonal function, whether it's stress hormones or sex hormones, all that we need to do is support and promote the body's hormonal system. And we support the body's hormonal system with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. Because interestingly enough, your brain and your nerves are made out of the same stuff that your hormones are made from. So the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, I'd give him 2 Healthy Brain and Heart Packs because of his body weight. I'd give him 2 Healthy Brain and Heart Packs a month. I would also give him 4 bottles of selenium a month, because the liver is intimately involved in the regulation of hormones in the body, and the selenium is necessary for the liver to optimize its structure and function. So by having a healthy liver, we're going to have more healthy hormones, and that's one way that we do it. And the third piece of the third leg of the stool here would be eating a diet that's high in cholesterol, because all of his sex hormones, every hormone in his body, I don't care what kind of hormone it is made from cholesterol, right? So I don't care how many vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids he has in his body. If he doesn't have enough cholesterol, his body can't make testosterone or any of the other sex hormones. So the recommendation, the easiest way to get cholesterol into the diet, it's eggs, man. Eggs, 6 eggs a day. Or any food that's high in cholesterol, butter, chicken with the skin, as long as it's not fried, rare meat, etc., etc. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Eat food that's high in cholesterol. Make sure he's salting his food so that it tastes good. And give him the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and selenium. And have him call me back in about 3 weeks. Appreciate you, Cleveland. Keep up the good work. It's the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you, Thursday, May 29th, 2014. Let's get right back to the phones and see who's talking about what. It looks to me like Jim from Myrtle Beach is up next. Hey, Jim, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden.
Hey, Jim, what's going on?
I have a couple of areas that I'd like to get some answers on. Both of these health problems involve an elderly lady that weighs 141 pounds, is 79 years old, and 5 foot 3 inches tall. The first one is macular degeneration and wet retina, and she's the doctors are giving her now injectable Avastin.
That's a bad idea as far as I'm concerned. I would refuse that. I would refuse injectable Avastin.
Yes. All right. Now what? Now I have her taking the Vision FX and the basic plant-derived minerals.
Okay, so in order to support and promote the structure and function of the eye, regardless of the MD's diagnosis, we eliminate the 10 bad foods, and we consume a diet that's high in antioxidants. You're familiar with the ORAC scale of antioxidants, right?
Yes.
She needs between 50 and 100,000 ORAC points a day. Between 50 and 100,000 ORAC a day needs to go into her body. And she can do that with supplements. She can do that with food. She can do it with beverages. She can do it with supplements, food, and beverages. She can mix and match. But the goal needs to be a minimum of 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. 100,000 would be better.
Which supplement would be best to help supply the ORAC?
Triple treat chocolate. Triple treat chocolate. Not the triple truffle. The triple treat chocolate. There's 17,000 ORAC points in one piece of that chocolate. 17,000 in one piece, and that's substantial. But, if she just drinks green tea every day, she's going to get a bunch of ORAC points. If she starts using curry powder or cayenne or eats walnuts, she's going to get antioxidant points, right? So there's simple the red wine. If she switches from white wine to red wine, she gets more ORAC points. So there's simple things she can do with diet in order to secure that. But if that's too hard and you just want to do supplements, then 4 pieces of Triple Treat chocolate a day would be a very good place to start. 4 pieces of Triple Treat chocolate a day. Now, because it's the eye, I overdo it with people. I mean, I just throw everything at it because, for goodness sake, if you don't have your vision, what the heck, right?
Right.
Right.
So the basic Mighty 90, including the EFAs and...
Well, what would be better for her, more cost-effective for the Mighty 90, would be the anti-aging Healthy Start Pack. Because the anti-aging Healthy Start Pack has Cell Shield RTQ in it, and 1 capsule of Cell Shield RTQ has 8,000 ORAC. And that's a good idea. So the recommendation for her, what's her body weight again?
141.
All right, so I'd give her 1 anti-aging Healthy Start Pack, 3 selenium, 1 Ultimate Daily capsules, 1 Ultimate Daily capsules, 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily capsules, and 4 boxes of Triple Treat chocolate a month. That's what I would do.
All right. Let me try that, and then I can get back to you if we don't start making progress. Now, the second health challenge is the AFib.
And is it in the same woman?
Yes.
Well, all right. So are you an insider, Jim? Have you become an insider at my website?
No, I haven't. I've been with Doc since 1997.
Okay, well, here's why you should consider this, and just do it for 1 month and see if it's worth your while. I bet you that it's going to be. I do, as an insider, if you become an insider on my website, it's $20 a month, right? You can cancel at any time. And as a subscriber, you have access to over 100 hours of archived video webinars that I've done on different health topics. I've done a webinar on eye health. I've done a webinar on atrial fibrillation. I've done a webinar on just about every health condition you can imagine. And as a subscriber, you could go into my library, you could find the webinar that I did on AFib, and you could email her a copy of it, and she can watch it. And she doesn't have to be a member to do that. But so using the information that I have generated and in my library, it really helps you to enroll people, right? Because remember, the best way to show somebody, to get somebody in the longevity boat, is to let the expert do the talking, right? So you bring them to this radio show, you bring them to Wallach's radio show, you lend them a copy of Dead Doctors Don't Lie and let them listen to it. Another really good way, and people who are using this, their business is booming, is to email them copies of the webinars that I've done, or if they're not that internet savvy, I have DVDs that you can buy on my website, where I'll talk about different health conditions on a DVD, and you can just lend a DVD the same way that you lend the Dead Doctors Don't Lie CD. And also it'll go a long way towards educating you and to fill in the holes that, Dr. Wallach has left, because he's only one man. And, there's only so much Doc can do. There's only so much I can do. But when you put the two of us together, we cover a lot of territory, and it really makes a difference here, because ultimately what it all boils down to here is knowledge, understanding, and education, right? So from our point of view, AFib is caused by degenerative disc disease. And I'm going to bet you 25 cents that this woman is at least a half an inch shorter than she used to be when she was a young woman. So when her body shrinks, the intervertebral discs are shrinking, the little feather pillows between each of her backbones. And as those discs shrink, they're no longer able to cushion the nerves that come out of the back appropriately. So if it just so happens that the intervertebral disc in her upper back, right next to the nerve that comes out of the spinal cord that goes to the heart, is shrunken, then she's going to cough or turn around or bend over, And because there's no more cushion in the cushion, the little nerve is going to be tweaked, and then the heart's going to start to beat inappropriately. And from our point of view, the single most common cause of atrial fibrillation is an intervertebral disc problem. Now,
So no drugs, or no pacemaker, anything like that.
well, no, and I talk about that in the webinar that I did, because the pacemaker. So how the MDs want to fix this, or they don't fix it. How the MDs want to manage this is they'll thread a little electrode up into her heart through a vein in her, or an artery or a vein in her leg. And then they thread this electrode up into the heart, and then they zap the nerves in the heart that make the heart beat. And they kill the nerves in the heart that make the heart beat. They kill the nerves in the heart that make the heart beat. And then they stick a pacemaker in her chest to make her heart beat the way that the doctors want it to, rather than the way that nature wants it to. Now,
have you had experience with correcting this situation in people with AFib?
yes, remarkable experience. I love helping people with AFib. One of my major distributors in longevity, he lives in Seattle, has had a remarkable experience with AFib. Just remarkable. So, from our point of view, the problem is in the back. The problem is not in the heart. And you want to really, Wallach is the main, Wallach, you do 10,000 autopsies, you start to get a clue, right? I mean, Wallach noticed with people that have AFib that the anatomy, the gross anatomy of the heart is fine. Nothing wrong with the heart. Nothing wrong with the nerves in the heart.
Right.
Well, where's the problem? The problem is in the back, where the nerve that goes to the heart exits the spinal cord. So another thing that's helpful for people like this is to find a chiropractor who has a table called a decompression table. It's kind of like one of those, I hate to say it, but it's a fun metaphor to think about. But, back in medieval days, they'd torture people, they'd put them on the rack, and they'd stretch them out, right? Well, chiropractors and some physical therapists have very sophisticated machines now that they put people on, and it very gently, very effectively, very efficiently stretches out their spine and relieves the tension on the nerve. And people with AFib can benefit from this greatly while they're waiting for the medical nutrition program to kick in. And so the medical nutrition program we're here to support and promote would be to give her ligament, cartilage, and tendon support, because that's what the discs are made from. So in addition to the other program that she's on, you just want to add the glucogel. And you know how to do that, either the liquid or the capsules, the glucogel, because we just give the body the stuff that the discs are made out of. We keep our fingers crossed, and we see how long it takes for her to bounce back. But absolutely positively, what's a bad idea for her to do until she's out of the woods with this is any type of harsh physical exercise. So, and I don't know that she's doing it at her age anyway, but she doesn't want to go to the treadmill. She doesn't want to go to the gym. She doesn't want to go to the pool. She doesn't want to do anything other than just, walk around the block once a day or walk around the park, because the more stress she puts on her body, the greater the chances of that little nerve being tweaked again. She really needs to watch it. But I'm telling you what, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Daily.
That's okay. As long as she's not going to the gym, lifting weights or going on a treadmill or anything like that, then that's okay. And that would help her. But remember, we have to get to the root here. And in this case, the root would be supporting the intervertebral discs. Try the Insider subscription just for a month, Jim. You don't know what you're missing. I appreciate you. Hey, it's Nashville is up next. Maybe Sharon will sing us a little song of her own. Hey, Sharon, thanks for the call. You are live.
I'm up. Oh, hey, I'm so glad you took my call. I've been waiting.
Well, okay, there you go. Come on now. Come on. Wait. Just a minute. Wait a minute. We've got a lot of time here. Here's what I want to know.
Oh, okay.
Do you own a guitar, a banjo, or a fiddle?
Yes, I got 6 albums out, and praise Jesus. Yep, I'm down here in Nashville. You know, everybody's got albums down here.
Do you have a website or something that we can go to look at your stuff?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've actually gotten into the creativeness of my painting and drawing. My husband and I have tiesandtees.net, which I draw.
Spell it for me.
Oh, okay. Ties, T-I-E-S, like a man's ties, and A-N-D, and tees, like T-shirts, T-E-E-S, tiesandtees.net.
All right, so that's tiesandtees.net, tiesandtees.net.
That's it, yep. And you can read my ministry, how God got me into painting on ties. My dad told me about that, and I painted on a lot of other things, and then now we're doing T-shirts and ties, but they're all my original drawings. I start with a painting and drawing like crosses and stuff, kind of abstract, and then my husband screen prints them onto the ties and the T-shirts, and we've been doing pretty good in Nashville and some surrounding states.
How long have you lived in Nashville?
Well, moved down here, actually get a teaching job because Pennsylvania was really hard. You have to know somebody, you have to be Italian, or up there you have to have a vowel at the end of your name to get a job. So I moved down here to get a teaching job in art, taught for 12 years. But no, really excited because, well, not excited, my husband has got rheumatoid arthritis, but we got him, read all about Dr. Wallach, got him on the pig arthritis formula. And my 2 biggest questions were about the PPLO, which we were reading on page 392, that basically it says that it's, rheumatoid arthritis is caused by like an infection called Mycoplasma synovia. And we were wondering if you definitely still stand by that if if you took tetracycline or minocycline for a year, it would help to get rid of the virus that causes rheumatoid arthritis?
Well, it's a bacteria, not a virus, but I like how you think. I like your dedication to the process here, and I like the fact that you're a self-learner. Now, keep in mind that book was written, 17 years ago by Dr. Wallach, right? And
exactly.
It's called The Practice of Medicine for a reason. Because no matter what field of medicine you're aligned with, whether it's contemporary reductionistic allopathic insanity, or whether it's Ayurvedic medicine, naturopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, whatever, medicine progresses and we learn more stuff, we adapt and we change and we make things better, right? For instance, Youngevity about a year ago came out with Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, which is the latest iteration of the Beyond Tangy product, because we learned more stuff about biochemistry and about medical nutrition, and we added and adapted and changed and made it better.
I'm on that new one. I like it.
Okay, all right. Awesome. So after Dr. Wallach wrote that, Youngevity developed a product called Killer Biotic. And Killer Biotic is a combination of herbs. It's a combination of herbs, each of which stimulates the immune system and supports and promotes the immune function of the body in a different manner. So what our clinical experience is now, that the Killer Biotic is better and more effective than the minocycline or the tetracycline.
Oh, okay. Because we're starting to think what doctor is actually going to, he went to a pulmonary doctor today because now he's been coughing a lot. And so now the doctors are saying, oh, now you got to get on prednisone because you're coughing. And he was going to tell him about the tetracycline and show him the dead doctors don't lie, but he got nervous. He said he didn't want to get him in a bad place, because he's been coughing too. So the Killer Biotic, is that a formula we can just order off the website, or is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a Youngevity product. It's called Ultimate Killer Biotic, and it's a Youngevity product. And, Youngevity subsumes other companies all the time. The recommendation is 1 bottle per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle per 100 pounds of body weight per month of the Killer Biotic. You want to take it 2 or 3 times a day in divided doses with a meal. Take the Killer Biotic with a meal. Otherwise, you'll be burping it up all day. It's got a lot of garlic in it. Okay. Okay,
twice a day. Okay. Oh, garlic. Garlic's supposed to be awesome for you. Well, then somebody told us too when we ordered the pig formula, arthritis formula, that we should try the INN Power, which is a mushroom complex.
Well,
That would be better.
I tell you what, I would stay with the Killer Biotic. I would use the Killer Biotic first. And remember, when you're on the right program, you're going to be seeing specific and measurable positive change within 4 to 6 weeks. Happy Thursday, everybody. May 29th, 2014. Welcome back to the second hour of the show. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden. I have 25 years of clinical experience as a naturopathic physician delivering science-based, clinically verified, holistic therapeutics to patients in a clinical setting as a licensed, regulated physician. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, don't you think? Let's go to Oregon now, which is a big supporter of naturopathy, and talk to Mary. Hey, Mary, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. This is Mary in Oregon, and I'm a distributor and an insider.
You go, girl.
Yeah. I've got my sister-in-law with me who's had issues for a couple of years, but it's getting worse. I've got her on the longevity program, gluten-free, so forth, but she's still having inflammation in her joints and her just, all over her body. So maybe I'll let her talk with you further about it.
Okay, that's great, Mary. Thanks. What's her name?
Lisa.
Lisa. All right, put her on.
All right.
Hello. I guess it's been since March. I guess I started having a lot of pressure in my wrists and through my arms. You could see like inflammation, puffiness throughout my body, and it got worse to where it started going into my other joints in my hands, my knees, my ankles, and in my muscles, my legs too. But it got so bad I had to go into the doctor and get on prednisone.
Well, all right. So there's a number of things that can cause this, right? And there's a number of illnesses that can look like this. So when you went to the MDs and they gave you the prednisone, and as God is my witness, if we took prednisone away from MDs, they'd be running around in circles like chickens with their heads cut off because they just don't know what to do besides throw prednisone at something. So
Right.
What did they tell you? What diagnosis did they give you?
Well, they ran a variety of tests, for rheumatoid, MS, lupus, joint damage, muscle damage, my blood count, and inflammation. Only thing that came back was slightly elevated inflammation levels that they said really didn't even need treatment, which, I was not almost being able to walk. So,
All right, so let me get this straight. So you had a chronic, persistent, accelerating group of symptoms. You went to the MDs because they're the only people that you have access to. They're the only people that your medical insurance will pay for. They're the kings of the hills of medicine here in the United States. They did thousands of... How much money did the diagnostic testing cost? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen the bill yet.
Do you have medical insurance?
Yeah.
What's your monthly premium? How much do you pay for medical insurance?
Well, I'm not sure right now.
Is it at least $200?
Probably around there.
Yeah, okay. And do you know what your deductible is? Probably $1,000 or $500, maybe $1,000.
Yeah.
All right. So it's gonna have cost you at least $1,000 here if that's what your deductible is, because there's no way all of this testing is less expensive than that. So, and that doesn't even take into consideration how much money in insurance premiums you've been paying, for the last 5, 10, 15 years. In order to gain access to these people, it's a lot of money that you've put out. And so you go to see them, you have a problem, and they tell you that they have no idea what it is, that it's inflammation, that you knew that it was inflammation before you went to see them. And they also had the audacity to tell you that it wasn't worthwhile treating, that you should just, go home and live with it? Was that their basic idea or what?
Well, no, they went ahead and prescribed the prednisone, but they sent a referral out to a rheumatologist.
Okay, but they did the rheumatoid panel and it came back negative.
Right.
All right, so they have no idea. Right, so they have no idea what it is, and they just threw prednisone at it. Okay.
Right.
So, and now the reason that I'm talking about this with this much detail, ladies and gentlemen, is for us to just open our eyes, pull back the curtain to the way that medicine is delivered here in the United States. This is par for the course. This woman's experience is par for the course about reductionistic allopathic MD-directed medicine and why it is such an abject and utter failure. Because the MDs are clueless about what's the generative cause of disease. They screw it up all the time. They make wrong diagnoses. They're clueless. They do thousands of dollars of diagnostic discovery. They come back empty-handed, and then they just throw, anti-inflammatories at it. So now this, have you ever seen people with water retention, like in their legs? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. And I did have, before the prednisone, I was getting the water retention in my ankles, feet, and lower legs.
Okay, very good. And was the same process happening in your arms, or was it different?
Well, it could have been water retention. I was kind of leaning towards that conclusion since the inflammation level wasn't exceedingly high. So, I don't know. But, yeah, it was puffed up, definitely inflamed looking, whether it was water or it's outright, caused from something else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, all right, very good. So the only cause of that, well, the main cause of that, of water retention anywhere in the body, is not enough protein in the blood. That's what causes that. Not enough protein in the blood is caused by either not enough protein in the diet or an improper, incomplete digestion of the protein that you do eat. So this begs the question, are you a vegetarian or a vegan?
No, but I do have some digestive problems.
Okay, so there we go. We're getting somewhere now. So what are the digestive problems that you have?
Like just acidity.
All right, so you got heartburn on a regular basis?
Yeah, it kind of goes in spells.
All right, now we're really getting somewhere. Do you have restless legs at night in bed?
No, not particularly.
And are you a sufferer from low-grade, mild, or moderate anxiety?
Yes.
And how are your menstrual cramps? On a scale of 1 to 10, how are they?
None.
None. Okay, so you don't have any menstrual cramps at all. Have you had kids?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the most common, and when you were at the doctor's office, did they check you for blood pressure?
Yeah.
And your blood pressure was normal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go. The most common cause of heartburn is a deficiency in stomach acid. Heartburn is not caused by too much stomach acid. It's caused by not enough. Not enough stomach acid causes a little valve in the top of your stomach to open up, and when that little valve opens up, the stuff that's in your stomach squirts up into your throat, and that's what causes heartburn. It's a hydrochloric acid deficiency. It's a digestive enzyme deficiency, not an excess. The things that cause not enough digestive acid in your stomach are not enough calcium in your diet and not enough salt in your diet. Not enough salt and not enough calcium are the main causes of heartburn, whether it's chronic or intermittent. Calcium and magnesium are the most common causes of low-grade anxiety. Not enough calcium and not enough magnesium are directly indicated to feeling anxious and a little wound up when there's really no reason to feel anxious and wound up. Water retention is a protein deficiency. Protein deficiencies in your case would be caused by improper digestion of the protein that you're eating, and that's happening because the stomach acid in your stomach is not sufficient to the cause. So we get water retention because of incomplete digestion. Now, if your digestion is so crappy that you can't digest protein, then there's a lot of other things you can't digest as well. And so this has made your body kind of a runaway nutritional deficiency train right? Because, I mean, that's why we eat food. That's why we drink drinks, to get the nutrition that's in them. But there's a process in the body that extracts the nutrition from the stuff that we just ate and drank, and it starts in the stomach. And if your stomach is messed up, well, guess what? You're not going to be able to digest the nutrients out of your body that your body needs to have healthy bones, ligaments, tendons, and joints. So you're basically suffering from multiple nutrient deficiencies, which the MDs have completely overlooked because they don't want to go there. They know nothing about it, and this is why everybody needs to fire their MD. So tell me your body weight, please, and I'll tell you what I would do if I were you for 90 days. How much do you currently weigh?
Oh, probably like 185.
Okay, and how tall are you?
5'4".
Okay, so you're about 40 pounds overweight?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, all right. Well, don't feel bad. It's not your fault. It's your doctor's fault, because it's your doctor's job to make you healthy. And while you've been paying medical insurance premiums every month to give to your MDs, you've gotten this runaway inflammatory illness that they're clueless about, and you're also overweight. And it's not your fault. You're not lazy. It's not because you have a bad gene. You don't have the fat gene. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's the doctor's fault. Obesity is caused by nutrient deficiencies. Now, Mary will be able to give you a link to a webinar that I did that explains all of this. There's a webinar that I did on obesity that you need to watch, and then you need to show it to everybody in your world who's struggling with their weight problems, because helping people maintain and gain a normal, healthy body weight is one of the easiest things in the world to do. So here's what I would do if I were you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that would be nice because I haven't always had a weight problem.
Yeah. Oh, well, all right. So right now you take prednisone, it's going to get even worse. Right. So anyway, all right. So here's what I would do for a couple of months, given your situation. I would do two healthy digestion packs, and 4 bottles of selenium a month. 2 healthy digestion packs, 4 bottles of selenium a month. And I would do the original packs. Mary, give her the original packs with the liquid calcium, the original formula with the liquid calcium. And you want to be salting your food so that it tastes good. Salt your food so that it tastes good. And every time you eat a meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, I don't care. Anytime you swallow food, I want 50% or more of what you just ate to be protein. I want you to go crazy for protein for the next 3-4 weeks. And, that means eggs, meat, fish, chicken, rice and beans, mixed salted nuts. Just go crazy for protein. Make sure you're salting your food so that it tastes good. Eliminate the 10 bad foods like Mary told you. That was a very good job to have done that. Get on board with this nutritional supplement program, and you should see remarkable improvement every week. Things should start to improve for you. It'll be like watching ice melt in the springtime. The water retention in the legs will start to get better, and then the stuff in the ligaments, bones, tendons, and joints should start to brighten up as well. So give this program a try. Give Mary a big hug, because ostensibly here, she just saved your life. Call me back in 4 weeks for the report. I will look forward to it. Kathy from Maryland is up next, folks. Stick around. Finishing up the show today, ladies and gentlemen, with Kathy in Maryland, and maybe if we have time, Spencer in Alaska. Hey, Kathy, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi there. I am a distributor, and I'm the one that called you from the hospital, if you remember. At any rate, I've been enjoying listening to you talk about the other things because I needed information on those too. But what I'm calling about is my grandson. He's 2.5, and he has ureter reflux. And where he had it when he was born, he was little, and it was a 5. My son told me to tell you, if you understand what that means. So it was pretty bad back then. And he's going to have to take him for an exam, and he's all worried about it. and he wanted to know what we could feed him longevity-wise to, like maybe clear this up.
So he's got urine backing up into his kidney.
Apparently, or the bladder. I don't know exactly. It's
okay.
Backing up. I don't know if it's as bad as it was when he was younger.
Okay. So now this could be a birth defect. And this also could be just a result of an inflammatory process that's been present in his body that attacked, for some reason, there's a little tube that goes from your kidneys to your bladder. And if that tube becomes inflamed, it's kind of like when kids get earaches.
Yeah.
It's because the little tube, the eustachian tube that goes from the ear to the back of the throat, excuse me, which drains the fluid from the middle ear, gets blocked. And why does it get blocked? Because of an allergic condition and an inflammatory condition, which 99 times out of 100 is caused by an allergic reaction to cow's milk. So, inflammatory reactions, whether they're of an allergic nature or not, can gum up drainage tubes inside the body, and the ureter, which goes from the kidney to the bladder, is one of those tubes that can become affected. So,
he did have trouble with formulas. They went through all kind of formulas to try to find him something.
Yeah, so was he breastfed at all?
Well, he couldn't seem to latch on, so she did pump it until she kind of pumped herself dry.
Okay, so he did get breast milk at least in the first 4 weeks of his month. Yeah. Okay. All right, so here's how old is he now?
He's like a little past 2 3/4 years old.
All right, so I would, number one, you have to eliminate all foods that you think he has an allergy to, all right?
Well, I've been trying to tell him about gluten for a long time.
All right, so no wheat, no barley, no rye, no oats, and also, interestingly enough, nothing made from cow's milk.
No, boy. Okay.
Are you familiar with the blood type diet?
No, but I've heard about it.
You don't know by chance what blood type this kid is, do you?
I don't.
Okay. So it may also be beneficial to find out his blood type and to additionally eliminate from his intake for the next 6 months the top 10 foods that are bad for his blood type. Now, if he's blood type O, cow's milk has got to go. So in addition to eliminating the 10 bad foods, which is a generic recommendation for every human being, because of his age and the severity of this condition, you also want to go the extra yard, and I would eliminate the top 10 foods that Dr. Diadamo says are inappropriate for his blood type, and you can easily reference that online, okay?
How do you spell Diadamo?
D-A-D-A-M-O, Diadamo.
Oh, okay. Is he the one that did the blood type diet?
Yeah, it's called Eat Right for Your Type.
Oh, okay. Eat Right for Your Type.
He wrote a number of books. The first one and the best one was Eat Right for Your Type. All right, so doing that. Now, in addition to that, the longevity protocol that I would start him with would be the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack, 1 Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack, and 1 bottle of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And I'd give him 1 pack of root beer belly a day. 1 pack of root beer belly a day. That's what I would do for 90 days. Keep your fingers crossed. But I suspect that at the root of this, it's not enough nutrients and consistent consumption of a food that he's allergic to, which is causing consistent irritation to the ureter. So unless his diet is cleaned up, I doubt very much that he's going to be able to effectively get on the other side of this. Give it a try, Kathy, and let me know what happens. I appreciate you very much. Sorry, Spencer. We'll have to do it next week. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, for Insiders Only, 8 p.m. Central, live chat. God willing and the creek don't rise, I'll see you Monday.